kitchen. Today we're going to make shepherd's pie. It's an old southern recipe. I learned to make it about 5 or 6 years ago. Okay, so here we go. I have all my ingredients and I'm going to get started. So I have my skillet on low because I'm going to saute the vegetables first. I have my candy measuring cups, and this is about a cup of green pepper. Let's turn it down a little bit because it's sizzling a lot. Once you get used to these skillets, you'll know how to temperature them. You hear it splattering a little bit, and that's what it's going to do. A lot of people like to add celery to this mix, but I don't. So that's about a 1/4 cup of red peppers, and what I'm going to do is add about a tablespoon of garlic. That should do it for the garlic. So what I'm going to do is just mix these vegetables together and let them saute. Ooh, you can smell the aroma already. It smells so good. So all I'm going to do is let them saute, get soft. And then I'm going to add my ground beef here. That's sitting over to the side. And this is going to make a casserole dish for shepherd's pie. Family size, okay? So I hear my oven going down a little bit, my little pan. So I'm going to crank it up a little bit. Because like I said, with these pans, you have to be very on top of everything. Make sure the garlic doesn't burn and the vegetables are nicely sauteed. Now I have red onion instead of the white onion. The red onion gives it a milder taste than the white onion to me. You can use whatever you prefer, but I prefer changing it up a bit. Sometimes I use red onion, sometimes I use the white onion. I've never put scallions in here though. That's an idea. I might try that one time. We can put scallions in. So we're going to just let this saute until, like I said, the vegetables are soft. Okay, so now I'm going to add my ground beef. I just pour it in there and mash it up. Like I said, this is going to be a casserole dish first, the shepherd's pie. Enough for 3 adults. And then you're going to have some leftovers as well. So we're going to just chop that up. And the seasoning. You can hear it sizzling. And I'm getting all that flavor in there from the vegetables I cooked earlier. Just chop it all up. I have it on high, so I'm going to turn it down a little bit. I just love this non-stick skillet. And I bought this from Walmart quite a few years ago. And it's still holding up for me. So they do have some good products there. Okay, so I'm letting it simmer. And a lot of times when you're cooking this, you'll notice that it's a lot of oil that comes off the ground beef. So what I do is I just scoop it out, because as a shepherd pie cooks, the oil is going to rise to the top. Now this beef was 80/20, and I got it from Walmart. It cost me $11.32 a pack, I think it was. Not very expensive, but it's going to make a meal for the whole family. Okay, so I'm going to turn it down a little bit because it's getting a little bit too high. And then I'm going to start adding my ingredients. I'm going to add my seasoning first. And I'm going to add some ground cumin. Just a 1/2 teaspoon of that. I never measure, so I just shake. I know what a half a teaspoon is. I'll shake it. You can measure it if you like. But I just put a half a teaspoon of cumin in it. Okay. Just like that. And we'll move on to a little parsley. The thing I like about shepherd's pie is you can season it the way you want it. I'm going to put a little basil in there. Like I said, 4 teaspoons at first, if you're not sure that your family likes it like this. But I know my family likes it like this. Okay? Then I'm going to add turmeric, which is good. Good and healthy for you. A little turmeric, not too much. Just enough for taste, because like I said, we're trying to get all those little spices and things in there that are good for your blood pressure. Okay? And now I'm going to add the thyme last. It's going to go in there absolutely last. I'm going to stir that a little bit. And then I'm going to add oregano. Oh yeah, you never heard of oregano in shepherd's pie, right? Just a little bit. Just for, like I said, just for flavor. You want to perk up the flavor. Okay? We have garlic in there, but we're going to add just a tad of garlic powder as well. Just to perk up the flavor, just a little bit. Sprinkle, sprinkle. And you can smell the aroma. So let's keep going with the spices. I'm going to put a little Worcestershire sauce in it, just a little bit. Just about that much. And I'm going to stir it again. And I'm going to taste it just a little bit before I add the tomato paste. I add the tomato paste so it can cut some of the spices down just a little bit. You know, tomato paste has a lot of acidic in it. So, but if you don't use too much, you'll be fine. Okay, I use about a half a can of tomato paste. Now, sometimes I put beef broth in here, but today I'm just going to use the beef cubes. And I'm going to drop one of those in here. Actually, since I don't have the beef broth, I'm going to do 2. Now, the Worcestershire sauce had a little salt in it, and the bouillons have a little salt in it too. So, like I said, we're going to taste it after I add a little water and a little tomato paste. So that's 1 tablespoon. That's about 2 tablespoons of tomato paste. And I'm going to stir that up. Push that over to the side. Now you already have the little water there. So let's see if it meets my expectations. Let's turn it up a little bit so I can cook. Try to get all those flavors in there. And make sure the bouillon cubes melt, because they will, because there's liquid in it, and then it's going to heat up again. Because the pot went all the way down, which I wanted it to. Because you want to take your time and mix this stuff. So you're mixing up all the flavors. And boy, when you taste it, it's going to be just great. Okay, I'm back. And I noticed that I didn't add the thyme. So I'm going to add about a tablespoon of thyme. That what really gives the shepherd pie. It's a really good taste. About a tablespoon. And like I told you, I already drained that excess oil off of it, because if you don't drain that excess oil off of it, when you put it in the oven, it boils up to the top. Because you're going to put a coating of mashed potatoes on this pie. And you want to get all that grease out of there, because it boils up to the top and it ruins the potatoes. try to get as much grease off of here as I can, off the hamburger. That's supposed to be 80-20, and we like to get that oil off of it. So I got most of the oil off. I'll continue to get it off because when it cooks, it's going to cook that fat out of that hamburger meat. Okay, so what I'm going to do to make my gravy, I'm going to add a little flour. So to thicken it up a little bit, I'm going to put the flour off to the side like this, about a tablespoon. That's all you need. I love these little dishes because they have the measures already there. So I'm going to take my little fork right about. And no, it's not going to scratch my pan because it's non-stick, but I'll use this instead, a little wooden spoon. All I'm trying to do is get this little flour to brown in the corner of the pan. And if it doesn't brown, that's okay too, because all I'm trying to do is create a little gravy. That's all I'm trying to do. Now, you know I put that bouillon too, actually, in here. And I tasted it while you guys were, I was gone for a moment. And it's not salty at all. And that's a good thing. Because with the mashed potatoes and the cheese that's going to go on top, it's going to be salty enough. So what I'm going to do is add a little water to here. A bottle of water right here. Then I'm going to add some water. Kind of mix that up a little bit. See, I'll just make the gravy on the side. You don't have to mix it in the meat. Just make it on the side. Just make sure there's no lumps. That all together so I'll have a little thickening. And you know I put that other seasoning in there, that thyme, because that thyme really pops up the flavor and all those other ingredients and those spices I put in there. Oh boy, this smells absolutely delicious. Absolutely delicious. So I'm going to mix it all together. It's not very hard. It's not a hard dish to make, especially if you've made it as many times as I have. Not very hard to make, but very, very tasty. So we're just going to let this simmer for a while. We're going to come back. And when I come back, I'm going to make the potato topping, and I'll show you how I do that. So what I'm going to do is fix the mashed potatoes that's going to go on top. I'm going to turn the eye on. Okay. And what I do is just use the Idaho cheddar sour cream potato, mashed potatoes. Just follow directions on the back of the packet. It calls for 2 cups of water. That's 2. So I'm doing 2 packs, so I'm doing 4 cups of water. And as you can see, I'm a Walmart shopper because everything is from Walmart. Pure Life, oh boy, that's from Walmart too. So we got 2 cups, so that's 4 cups of water. Okay. And like I said, we're just following the directions on the packet. 2 cups of water, and then it says add the packs of mix. So that's what I'm going to do. Okay. So let's go ahead and do that. Let me get my scissors to cut the packets open. We're going to bring that to a boil, though. We're going to wait till that water starts boiling. Okay. Whew, the water is boiling. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add a stick of butter in there. This is what I do. Add a stick of butter until it melts. It's going to give the mixture pick up the flavor in it. Sometimes you have to add your own little things to make a meal really, really good, to your own liking, as they say. I've been cooking a long time, so I should know. I'm going to stir it. I'm going to turn off the heat. And then I'm going to pour the mixture, the mashed potatoes in. Ooh, look at that color. I'm going to get a whisk. Just a second. And I'm going to start whisking it. I'm going to pour the other packet in. Do it a little slower. And start whisking it. Whisking it, whisking it. See that yellow color? That's going to be beautiful on top of the shepherd's pie. Just a little bit at a time. And just but constantly whisk it. Because if you don't, it's not going to turn out correct. Oh, that's good. Okay, getting back over here to our shepherd mix. Let's put this away. I'm going to uncover it. And we can see it's still there. Haha, that was a joke. Because sometimes my son comes in the kitchen and he wants to know what's cooking. And I have to watch out that he doesn't sneak and get some of this thinking it's sloppy Joe. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add my corn. Throw that in there. I usually use the whole bag. Now we're going to add peas to this too, but you add your peas last because it doesn't take peas any time to cook. Now all we're doing is stirring this in. We're not trying to cook this. We're just trying to stir it in. So what I have is some carrots. I'm going to add the carrots, about a cup of carrots in the shepherd's pie. Stir those carrots in. Now I see it's a little dry, so what I'm going to do is add a little water bottom of the pan. You don't want to add too much, just a little bit. Because you know we made that gravy. So when it bakes, that gravy is going to like be really in there. And we don't want it too loose, because we don't want the shepherd's pie falling apart when we get ready to cut slices out of it. And I'm going to put a little bit more water. Just enough so you can see it, but it's mixing well. So we got the carrots and the corn, and like I said, the peas are going to be added last. At the very end, we're going to add those peas, because they don't take that long to cook, and they're pre-cooked. They're frozen peas, but cooked peas cook very, very fast. The carrots are done. It's going to go in the oven for about 45 minutes. So we're stirring that up real good. It's nice and hot, and that's the way we want it. And now we're going to add the little peas, just however your family likes it. A lot of people don't like peas, but my family likes peas, so I'm adding the peas to my shepherd's pie. Some people add string beans. I don't really like string beans in a shepherd's pie, but some people do. Okay, that looks really, really good. I'm going to do a little taste test with it. So let me get a little fork and do a little taste test and see how it tastes. I'm going to cut the fire down just a little bit, because like I said, it's going to finish cooking in the oven. So what I do is just pour it all in the dish. Take your time, no hurry. And when you've been cooking as long as I have, sometimes you'll make a few mistakes by wasting it. But that's why they made soap and water, because you can always clean up. Yep, that looks absolutely delicious. So I'm going to spread it out. Put the pan down right now. We'll get that cleaned up later. Just spread it out just a little bit. Oh yeah, that looks good. And I'm going to just make the topping for the shepherd's pie. And see, that's why I made so much potato, because you have to spread the topping on, and you want to make sure you have enough potato to seal this pie. So we're just trying to seal up everything here. Take a little potato, put it in that little hole. Try to cover up that little hole, because like I said, the grease is going to rise that's in the hamburger meat. And you want to try to seal it as best you can. Okay? Okay, as you can see, I've taken it out of the oven. I've let it cool off for about 15 minutes. But as you can see, as I was talking about, the grease rises up. The coloring is because of the tomato paste we have in it. And I sprinkled a little parsley over the top for color. And now I'm going to cut it and plate it up so you can see if it holds. We'll see if it holds together. So what I do is just take a knife. Now the potatoes, they're very loose. Okay. Now of course you can make your potatoes a little bit thicker if you wanted to. I choose not to make mine as thick. Okay. And what I'm going to do is try to loosen it first. And it might not be cool enough, but we're going to check it out. We're going to check it out. And hopefully it's cooled enough so we can dip it out. And as you can see, those potatoes are a little bit soft, but still, that's how you make the shepherd's pie. And as you can see, inside the shepherd's pie, it holds all together. Got that good little gravy. Okay. Now let me get a fork. I'm going to show you how it looks inside. Okay. It's still very hot. You might want it to cool off a little bit longer than I did, but I just wanted to show you. It's so simple to make a shepherd's pie. And that's the filling.